So how I may suggest to you just a few helpful approaches, what I call portals, ways in which you can allow that which wants to emerge instead of resisting it. So this one could call portals into the state of presence. A portal is an opening, it's a doorway. It opens up. A portal into the state of presence, one could say, or you could say it is a portal through which presence comes, emerges. Now, some portals appear in everybody's life and they can be called involuntary portals. For example, great loss. The opposite of what the self wanted, which is more, happens to you, which is less. So life, an involuntary portal, happens to you, and it happens to every human being. Usually is not recognized as a portal because it's only a potential portal. When you don't recognize it, it may not be able to fulfill its function. You run away from it into more future. But any loss, especially significant loss in your life, is an involuntary portal into the state of presence, the unconditioned consciousness. So this isn't something that we need to explore here, but because that simply happens. Life does that to you. You can't make that happen. Life, sooner or later, will remove things from you. The movement of the self was in the opposite direction, accumulate more to be more of me. And then at some point, life comes in and goes, it tears something out of an external thing, disappears from your life that you had identified with as me. The thought form suddenly has no foundation anymore. The building has collapsed. The company that I spent 30 years building up has gone bankrupt. 30 years of effort, of making myself and my family and 2,000 other people unhappy, of trying to make it, and it's all been in vain. It's a little example. So that means the thought form of me having achieved this great thing and built up this company, and a very temporarily satisfying thought form, suddenly has no foundation anymore, because the external structures have collapsed. And the thought form then begins to shake. Of course, it cannot sustain itself unless you become insane and say, no, it never happened. I still have it. This happens too. It's total denial, and then you can keep the thought form that I am still important. But usually, when the external foundation of a thought form has been removed, the thought form itself becomes shaky and then also crumbles. And that leads to great unhappiness in the human being, because the very foundation of oneself has become threatened. And this is the most dreadful thing. It happens to humans, and it is not usually recognized as a potential for something else, but occasionally it works. And then a person may experience great loss in his or her life and is so stunned. And it sometimes happens when there's loss not of one thing, but several things all at once. That means every time something is removed from you and a thought form collapses that was linked to that, an opening happens in the stream of mind. An opening happens because a form has dissolved. First an external form, and then the corresponding thought form. A sense of self was lodged in that thought form, and now it's gone. This is called death. It is the experience of death on one level or another. It is very painful from one side. Death is, and so the temptation not to face that is very great, to run away into future and say, I'm going to build up another company, I'll spend another 30 years, I'm going to show them that I can make it. And perhaps you can. And then eventually the same thing happens. If the company doesn't collapse, you collapse. This is the most fundamental law of the physical universe, that the structures are unstable. And it shocks humans every time. That is not supposed to happen. They're supposed to be stable. I was walking, I saw this wonderful, I was going for a walk near Los Angeles, but outside in a park, a wild nature reserve. And there was a collapsed building that had burned down 40 years ago, and the roof was gone, and trees were growing inside the building, and beautiful, wonderful to see how form is returning to the formless. They left it there, just there was a waterfall nearby. But as you entered that space, the city council had put up a sign, which to me was a sacred sutra, but they probably didn't regard it as a sacred sutra. The sign said, danger, all structures are unstable.